Morning.
Hi.
So,
I was in honor to see you.
Good morning. Hi, man. Rabbi will be here in a moment.
You got Larry there?
good
Yeah.
morning, good morning,
Hey, Larry.
good morning, good morning. Hey, Mal, how are you?
Hey doing? Miss you.
How you doing, Mal?
I'm doing well. Go to Florida on Monday. I'm going to Florida for a little bit before
Yeah,
the
you
holiday.
haven't been there in a week. It's about time you showed up and relaxed again, Mal.
Behave, Larry. Behave.
Just
Well,
enjoy, just enjoy every minute, Mal.
Let's do it. But you usually do California and Israel.
Yeah. We did Israel a month ago, and actually my daughter should be here shortly. She'll be here from California for the weekend, actually, and for a week. So it's I'll go in May or something. We'll see. But everybody's good. That's all that's important.
What do you do for Perashat? Here or the rabbi's here?
But I'll speak to you. Have a good Shabbos, man. Boker Tov, Boker Tov, Boker Tov, Rabbi.
Look a second in the beginning of the Perasha.
Are we getting rain today?
Very strong.
Five, 6, 8. Whatever you tell me, I believe you.
Look, please look a second on page 580 before we go to the beginning. 580. This is in the middle of the Perasha. Rabbi, I'm just talking for a second. In this week's parasha, for a full week, the second half of the parasha, for a full week, Aaron and his children are staying in the area of the Mishkan. Moshe is erecting the Mishkan every day. Moshe is the one that is really offering the korbanot. Look a second.
Sorry, it's coming. One more on the shelf. Okay.
Look a second, the Perek Chet Pasuk Gimel. It's page 580. So remember again, this is the background. It's 1 week. 1 week before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Moshe is putting the Mishkan up and down every day. Moshe is serving them, and Aaron and his children are staying there for the duration of 7 days, obviously, except they have to. So look a second, Pasuk Gimel. ואת כל העדה הקהל בפתח אוהל מועד. לא, השיר זה אחד מן המקומות שהחזיק מועט את המרובה. ויעש משה כאשר ציווה השם ותקהל העדה בפתח אוהל מועד. Remember, this is the beginning. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down on Yom Kippur with the Luchot. Moshe Rabbeinu is telling them to start the collection for the Mishkan. The Mishkan was completed on Chavdalet Kislev. From 24 Kislev till this week, Moshe Rabbeinu is putting it for 7 times every 7 days. And on the 8th day, Rosh Chodesh, the regular services begin, but for the duration of the 7 days, Moshe is doing it, and Aaron and his children are watching.
And Moshe is bringing korbanot on those 7 days.
Moshe is bringing the korbanot. And the
When you
Gemara-
say you used to assemble and disassemble, we're talking about the exterior walls, that
everything,
perimeter wall,
yeah, everything.
everything.
Physically, it's a big question how Moshe Rabbeinu did it. So the
Each
Chata-
one is.
the
He's talking about the people.
No. You are right in Israel, no, but for the 7 days, it says in open in the Pasuk. The Khatam Sofer wants to say something fascinating. He wants to say, if you have a metal vessel or wooden vessel that became Tameh, and let's say a big hole, the Tumah goes off. If the Kli is not usable, the Tumah goes off. Yes? Okay, it has to be a certain size. Says the Khatam Sofer, he didn't have to take apart the entire Mishkan. He wants to say that every day Moshe took off few beams.
That made it not
A few beams is basically it's the same as any type of vessel. This is what he wants to say. Otherwise, it's difficult to understand. I mean, for 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu has to take it apart and to put it on, and the services has to go on, and Aaron and his children. And Aaron and his children have to work.
Do we know why it was taken apart?
I'm sure that there are explanations. I don't know.
Also, does anybody ask why not give it to Aaron to do it, since he was gonna take over the position permanently? Moshe was only temporary, he never did it again after those 7 days, right?
Did he
Why
go
not
in
give it-
that was gonna be 7 days?
Why not give it,
Oh,
why
it's
did you give it
a-
to Aaron?
No, it's a good point. What Eli said, but look at second at the end of Perashat Tzav. Look at the end of
Did
Perashat.
Moshe know going in, it was just gonna be 7 days,
What?
Rabbi?
No,
Going
he was
in,
he was
you know,
told.
only
He
to be
was
7 days and out?
he was told to go for 7 days. Look a second.
But Hashem changed his mind in the past, so we can change it.
Change your mind
I don't know about you.
when it comes to the future of the Jewish people. Talking about לא יש רק look a second in Perashat Tzav, when the Torah is commending us.
Here's other thing. He does, but he does.
Look at page 482 a second. Look at 482 a second.
All right, we can also noise. There's noise. Quiet down. It's fine, worse.
This is Perek Lamed. This is Perek Lamed. 482 pasuk.
Perek Lamed?
Perek Lamed. Shmot Lamed.
Oh, Shmuel.
By you it's yeah.
Which,
Look at pasuk Zayin. I'm showing it only to answer Eli's question. והקטיר עליו הארון, you say it every day, והקטיר עליו הארון כתורת סמים בבוקר, והייתי בו את הנרות יקטירני. The question is, every Kohen, it's not, Ktoret has nothing to do with Aaron. Every day they used to make a raffle. As a matter of fact, they gave it to other people. Why is the Torah, this is the first time, remember, this is the Torah here in Tetzaveh, is telling us what Moshe is doing now. Why is Aaron? Says the Ramban, the first time that the Ktoret was offered had to be done by Aaron. The same exact idea, says the Ramban. Look a second in במדבר פרשת בהעלותך. Look a second in ספר במדבר פרשת בהעלותך. Just listen to the idea, just listen what the Ramban says, and then the two things are together, and I'll tell you what the Meshech Chochmah says and the Ramban says. Look at page 774. This is the beginning of בהעלותך.
I hope keep this 42 and I'll go again.
No, the 482, no, you don't need it. We're going back to
580.
everyone knows this because we read it on Hanukkah, and you know this is perfect for all the lectures and all the whatever you want. דבר אל אהרון ואמרת אליו בהעלותך את הנרות. So Rashi says over there, Rashi says that this is written right after the Nesiim, yes? We read it on Hanukkah, every day the Nesiim gave their own donations. And Aaron felt very bad. he did not participate, and Hashem comforts Aaron by telling him, you are getting the menorah. This is very nice for a speech. But in reality, Aaron didn't have to light the menorah. Everyone can do the menorah. The Rambam says even a stranger can do it as long as he lights it outside. What is the comfort to Aaron?
Every Kohen, or everyone.
Because Rambam's opinion is that the Kav Shirah B'Zar. If you take out the menorah, you put it in the courtyard, anyone can light it, but you have to take it there. Anyway, what do you comfort Aaron? Says the Rambam, the first time has to be done by Aaron. Everything in life, in the beginning, is done by a great person. The foundations are
The
strong.
lead off batter, the first pitch.
So Eli is asking.
Imagine you go like honest or light menorah, it's a nice honor.
Eli, especially if the mayor does it,
Well, Rabbi Prague, if you think about it, for your classmates, you could say that yesterday baseball started and the first pitch, who threw out the first pitch? They didn't let Larry Militsky throw out the first pitch.
They did or did not?
I voted for you, Larry.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I gave up baseball when the Dodgers left Brooklyn. That's another story.
My father did too.
Yeah.
I never started, so you have to
You
be
went to
like.
one game. You told us you went to one game.
No, my son, I took to the Kansas City Royals and the Yankees. I
You
remember.
went to one game.
Oh, you went to one game.
See, you remember the game. And I remember that the rabbi went once.
Did you catch a ball, Rabbi?
I came with the proof, and my son came for the game.
Did you ever go back to a
Did you
game?
look up more than once, or you didn't even look up?
Amen. Of course, I had to look, and my son was slim, and I'm looking, but I have to see what he's
Wondering what's going on?
I went to Shea
I would've
Stadium
paid
one
to see
time.
that,
I said,
right.
there's enough for me.
And guys, you have to go up with it, obviously. Anyway, Ila's question was, why was Moshe in charge of doing the services for a full week? This is the question. This is the answer. The same idea that the Ramban is telling us, the Torah has to start with Aaron. The same idea that the Ramban and the Meshech Chochmah said the first menorah has to be done by Aaron. The Mishkan, Avodat HaMishkan has to start with Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu had everything, yes?
Infuses it with
So for 7 days Moshe is doing it, and the 8th day on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Aaron and his children are taking over. This is next week's Perasha.
So maybe he infuses it with the Kiddusha when he does it for the first week.
Whatever, this live for the rabbi to give the speech. So now, look a second on the Perek we started. Go now again, page 5. It is by Sefer Bamidbar Perek Chet Larry.
It shows a few examples that a great person starts out something.
This is why the first child has a pidyon haben. This is why everything in Judaism is the same. It follows it. This is the idea. The foundations are strong. The chances.
First year of a marriage is Naki.
Whatever, yeah.
Depends.
The question is, why does Hashem want Aaron? Look a second. Look at page 580 again. Let's start the beginning of Perek Chet. וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, קח את הארון, listen carefully, ואת בניו איתו, ואת הבגדים, שמן המשחה, the special oil to anoint the משכן and the כהנים, את פר החטאת, שני העילים, all the קורבנות that you are supposed to bring at that day, ואת כל העדה הקהל, בפתח אוהל מועד. Moshe, before Moshe starts all this business, has to assemble everyone. Okay, to be honest, look at the Rashi.
Well, 2 million, it doesn't fit.
Look at the Rashi. Look at the Rashi, Pasuk Hey. זה הדבר.
Where are you now, Rabbi Prague?
פרק ח', בספר ויקרא, פרק ח', פסוק ה'. ויאמר Moshe, remember, this is before Moshe is anointing the Kohanim. Before Moshe starts the 7th day, ויאמר משה לעדה, זה הדבר אשר ציווה השם לעשות. Look at the Rashi. זה הדבר, דברים שתראו, שאני עושה לפניכם. You're about to see how I am anointing my brother, my nephews. ציווני הקדוש ברוך הוא לעשות, ואל תאמרו לכבודי, ולכבוד אחי, אני עושה. Why is Moshe making the statement? Do this? Before, אומר Moshe is telling the people, don't think I'm doing it on my own. I'm doing it because of Hashem. Fine. I mean, this is, we understand psychology, we understand it well.
Human nature.
But I saw today something really fascinating. I have to read it for you a second.
This is exactly what Korach does not believe.
What?
This is what Korach doesn't believe.
Obviously, Moshe already,
That's
you
why he
realize,
said it.
Moshe is exactly,
Korach had a very good reason not to believe. He got Nebuah, that he saw something. He was getting Nebuah.
So generations later.
Generations, he got
later,
Nebuah
he had
from
a foresight.
It was a
When you realize-
misconstrued
Moshe abused the power of seeing the future. This is the danger we have in
He
voodoo
saw
stuff.
point A and point C, he had no point B.
The wife of Potiphar also had the same
Yeah, yeah.
nevuah.
Right, she thought it was her.
This all the destruction of the world comes from these people, this type of nevuah. Yeah. Go talk to someone smarter than you and I see what he says. Look a second now. The Akedah was about 700 years ago in Spain. One of the earliest books of philosophy. The Kuzari, the Moreh Nevuchim, Akedah. Listen to what he's asking. For me, it was new, so I'm saying it. Look at Shmot Perek Chavchet. Go to Shmot Perek Chavchet. I'm sorry, we're moving from place to place. Go to Shmot Perek Chavchet. 28. Suk Mem Gimel. Now, remember again, this is not a contemporary fellow saying it is Akedah.
Who's the Akedah?
The Akedah was one of the earliest Sephardic great thinkers in Spain. Look at the
Around Babanen?
no Akedah.
No, but about the same.
It was 200 years before the Babanen. Okay, you have it. It's on page 474. Now remember, in this week's parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu is dressing Aaron and his children. Moshe is anointing them. But in the pasuk we are looking now in 474. Look a second. Over there, it's a command, to tailor, to prepare the garments. Look, pasuk Mem Gimel, I'm reading. והיו על אהרון ועל בניו בבואם אל אוהל מועד, which is this week's parasha, או בגישתם אל המזבח לשרת בקודש, ולא יישאו עוון ומתו. Any Kohen that does any service in בית המקדש and is missing one of the garments, חייב מיתה בדשא. It's as if me and you are not a Kohen. We understand the pasuk till here. מה פירוש חוקת עולם לא לזהות?
What did you say Bavetu means?
מיתה בדי שמיים, זה ההלכה. ההלכה היא, if a Kohen,
How
לא ודאי.
do I know that?
כך כתוב, if you look at the Rambam.
Rabbi, is it the Shogeg or if by mistake he's mistake?
Normally it's mistake. How can you say Chukat Olam? Here, so the Akedah is asking, how can the pasuk say Chukat Olam means this law applies forever? It doesn't apply forever, because after the first temple was destroyed, it's finished. After the second temple until the third temple, the word Chukat Olam cannot be written. This is the Torah, yes. Remember, Moshe, Hashem is telling Moshe, prepare the Kushia
Are we saying
Ritzini.
nothing is forever, so to speak?
No.
it
During
wasn't.
the
In
second
fact,
Bet
it wasn't.
Mikdash.
Since the Torah says it's forever,
It has to be
And
forever.
the Akedah 600 years ago is asking, how can you use this phrase if in reality it's not?
In reality, being the second Bet Mikdash, they did without.
The first one also, the 7 years. Here, ביקשה, איך אפשר
The last 70? What was that? Big Day
It took 70 years between the first and the second. ביקשה הרב, איך אפשר שיהיו בגדי כהונה קיימים לעולם שהרי בית המקדש נחרב? Listen, to say what he says, you have to be him. You have to be a man for me. Hundreds of years ago. He says like this. Every time the Torah is telling me to do something for a specific reason, even if you are unable to do it, if you are really achieving the goal that the act was supposed to do, if you can achieve it in your mind, it's as if you did it. For instance, he says, the Torah says, Ki tireh chamor sona'acha rovesh tachat masaro, right? You see a donkey of someone you really dislike, right? You're obligated to go and help him unload. By doing that, you are basically cleansing yourself from the hate.
Wow.
Says the Akedah, Rabbi Prague never ever, right? I unloaded a donkey of someone I hate. I have many people I dislike, but I never saw a donkey for it. So how would I do it? Shema Omer, the Torah is telling us that it's possible to remove dislike or hate you have for someone by doing something positive.
Positive for him.
Obviously, positive for him is the only way to do it. So he wants to say, Moshe Rabbeinu is assembling the people here, it is, to tell them, don't think that the Avodah in Beit HaMikdash is only for the Kohanim. There will be times that there's no Beit HaMikdash. If we will have the kavanot, we will learn the alachot of Olah and Chatat, it's as if we, the non-Kohanim, are bring to the Moshe Rabbeinu is comforting the people. Here you look, my brother, 4 sons, yes? It's not only for them. Right now, they are in charge of it. But the minute it's being established,
So the general
no, so
population.
he says the Chukat Olam, the Begadim applies, even if there's no Beit HaMikdash. But all the avodot of Beit HaMikdash, if we are internalizing it and doing it the right way, make the chidush that don't know.
Where's he learn from?
What?
What words?
הוא אומר את זה בחוקת עולם, הוא אומר את זה שם, ככה הוא אומר את זה. לא, אבל comes Reb Shlomo Kluger, this is it. Comes Reb Shlomo Kluger 200 years ago and says, this is why Moshe Rabbeinu is assembling everyone before the services begin. I want you to look at it. It applies to you and to you, even if you are not Kohanim.
So
Even if you are not Kohanim.
the general population could achieve that sense of
This
completeness
is
and fulfillment
exactly what I mean.
by being more
Exactly
perfected.
the same. Now, if you want to see how far, now go to the beginning.
Oh, you know what? Rabbi Prague?
Yeah, I'm listening, yeah.
Yeah, you could, so I looked up the Chukat Olam Adorotechem, or Chukat Olam. It's interesting. You have that in for a few places. It actually works. What this okay.
The idea is the idea in Chukat Olam. You already said to check in the computer. Every place it says Chukat Olam.
Not every place. I just checked one or two.
Which one is not? Which one is not?
I didn't know. I didn't check not. I just checked yes, like the one in Shemot Yud Bet.
Korban Pesach. This is exactly the idea.
That's
This
my
is exactly,
point.
this is why many, especially among the Hasidim, Erev Pesach in the afternoon, always they learn the Rambam and Chod Korban Pesach, and they read the Pesukim. This is why people who came out, who were sick and are cured, etc., when they make Seudat Toda'ah, they read the Pesukim of Korban Toda'ah and the Rambam and Mizmor LeTodah. It's exactly the same idea. Now go to the beginning of the Parasha. This was a dogma.
Rabbi Prague, some people try to do it while
What?
Rabbi Prague, some people try to do it while they're looking at Har HaBayit. In that people come here and they do it looking at Har HaBayit at the Makom HaMikdash while they say it.
My aunt, my mother's sister, still the young side of her, told me that when she was a little girl, and my grandfather, who I'm named after, used to go Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, he used to go to a place where Yaakov is now in Israel. She told me I was a little girl, my father was holding my hand, and he was praying, and I felt my father is shivering. When she told it to me, it was 7 years after it happened, I never forgot it. I never forgot. Why is my Abba? This is exactly It's easy to stand to take pictures by the kotel. It's easy to go to Makom HaMikdash. And this is what Yaakov is saying. We feel it.
Internalized. Internalized.
And Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld was the Ashkenazi chief rabbi of Yerushalayim. He lived in a cave that me and you would not use as a basement, as a storage for the basement. And many very mega wealthy came and told him, Rabbi, move out for a month.
Fix it himself.
So he used to take them to the window. You see the Makom HaMikdash? Dayor la'evet sheyeh keravo. It's very easy to say as a story when I live very comfortable. It says, Beit HaMikdash is not built. How can I? This is what Yaakov means.
This is your side.
If somebody came to you and
Who's
said,
yours?
Yosef Chaim Zon.
Oh, you see that?
Wow.
Wow, beautiful.
if somebody came to you and said they didn't have it out, it's okay, except it's you don't read the laws and learn the.
This exactly what this was part of the oh, interesting. So this is yours. So I'll tell you an unbelievable story. He said he was a man that was medayek.
100 years ago? About Rabbi?
Yeah, approximately. I mean, my uncle and my father, Rabbi Shalom, remember him. So he used to finish Shachrit. I'm making it up now. Every day after Vatikin, half an hour later, he comes for breakfast. One morning, his daughter realizes Abba is not here. She goes out. It's good. He's standing by the well, and he's filling up the water for two little kids. So he says to him, Abba, you're the chief rabbi in Yerushalayim. Yes. In the days, of course, you take pictures right away. What's that? He says, I was passing by and I saw that this is dangerous. I was asking them, where is your father? My father is sick. My mother just gave birth. So how can I let two little kids fill up water? I said to him, Abba, but you are the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim. He says, two kids are more important in my time. This is his Yosef today. This is the man that says, I cannot refurbish my house.
Then I once hear a story of Rabbi Moshe Sher, Rabbi Shalom, that he used to sit under the table when his mother lit the candles, and her tears would drop down, and he felt them from lighting the candles. I heard this someplace. True, not true.
If it's written in his biography, it's a man. We're doing part 568. This is the beginning of this week's Perasha. After the introduction we gave, you'll see it now in the Pasuk. David, look at the Pasuk now in 568. Zot Torat HaOlam. Good. This is the laws of the Olam. He, HaOlam Mokedah HaMizbeach Kol HaLayla. The limbs that are left over after the blood was sprinkled before sunset can be offered at the Mizbeach all night. What is the twice? Zot Torat HaOlam, Hi HaOlam. The pasuk should have said Zot Torat HaOlam, Mokedah HaMizbeach Kol HaLayla. Why is the word Olah written twice? Says the Gemara.
What's it mean, Allah?
Olah is the name of the Korban. It's the name of the Korban. Says the Gemara, you hear Zot Torah Ta'olah. If you learn the halachot of Korban Todah, it's as if you offer the Korban. You hear Zot Torah Ta'olah, Kol HaOsek Semi B'Torah Ta'olah, Ki'ilu Ikriv Ta'olah. The Gemara says Chatat.
That's what the Ha'olah is teaching.
This is Zot Torah Ta'olah. Torah.
On my learning of Torah of it.
Torah Ta'olah is the question is, me and Sammy never did mitzvah payah. I never did mitzvah of Reshit Hagez. By learning the halachot, would I fulfill? Is this rule applies only to korbanot or to every mitzvah? Now, there are many mitzvot that many of us, the Shalah Ritzinit. So the Rafetz Chaim, it's not about pele. Again, you hear the question.
If you read about it vicariously, you did it. So
Right, the korban.
like the other.
Yes, it's a mitzvah. We are not farmers. You are a businessman in Israel. You don't have a farm. You never did the mitzvah of shemitah. You never leket shikha. Listen to the
Levi, you can't do the things that Kohanim do, for example.
the same
You can't do
idea.
things a woman could do either. So there's
says the Chafetz Chaim, Bishma Davar Pele. The Gemara says, it's a long story, but it's not for now. The Gemara is in Baba Metzia. Eliyahu Hanavi met, let's say the name here. Ashkechei Rabba Baravua Eliyahu, we saw Eliyahu Hanavi in the non-Jewish cemetery. Says to Eliyahu, what are you doing in the cemetery? Eliyahu says to him, don't you know the Mishnah? It's a non-Jewish cemetery. Okay, this is the Rambam is posek like this Gemara that legally a Kohen can be on a non-Jewish cemetery.
I told you, Ronnie.
But since we follow Shulchan Aruch, it's machloket with the Rambam. So okay. By the way, did you ever stand on Mount Olive?
And Shulchan Aruch says what? That they cannot?
Yesh laKohen lizaher lo lolech al kivrei Yaakov.
That's why they buried non-Jewish people around the old city walls.
You ever stand on Mount Olive? One of the gates of Yerushalayim, right, has an Arab cemetery there. Because the Mesorah by the Arabs is that when Moshiach comes, is going to come with this gate. They want to make sure that he's not coming. Please?
Oh,
Moshiach is Eliyahu. According to the Rambam, we have no problem. Moshiach, לא, אם נגיד
He's the Korea.
קורה, זה הכוונה.
How does that? I missed it. Eliyahu Hanavi is a Kohen.
If a Kohen
Oh,
cannot be in a
he's gonna pull out
non-Jewish
the Mashiach.
cemetery also, they make sure that there is a there. הנה אנוכי שולח לכם את אליהו הנביא.
But Eliyahu followed him
Anyway, listen to me.
Is that a proof? Is that a proof that to the
Eliyahu
Rambam?
followed Rambam. He's allowed to go in.
Anyway, Eliyahu says to him, how is it possible you didn't know this halacha?
oh, yeah.
You're asking me a question that if you know the Mishnayot, you should know it.
What
Yes,
was the question again? What did he ask him?
he's asking Eliyahu, what are you doing in a
what are
non-Jewish
you doing
cemetery? So Eliyahu says to him, it's a Mishnah, what do you ask?
We don't.
Listen to what he said. Okay, it's a machlok. It's a Shimon ben Yochai. Anyway, he answers him, I'm so poor, I'm barely making it. Ishma. So from the 6 Sidrei Mishnah, I learned only 4. And I didn't have time to learn the Mishnayot Tam. Which 4 did you learn? Listen to Shema Chafetz Chaim. Says Rashi, Moed, I have to learn because it's Shabbat and Ruvin, yes? Seder Nashim, divorce, I have to learn, yes? Then Nezikin, you have to learn business laws. And then he says, and Kodashim, I have to learn. Why? Because Talmidei Chachamim העוסקים בהלכות עבודה כאילו מקריבים קורבן. It is, even though there's no Bet HaMikdash, but each one of us is not perfect. So when you learn the halachot, says the Chafetz Chaim, it is. If learning the halachot of Peyah, Leket Shikha, Peyah count, if I did, you should learn Zeraim also. למה למד קודשים? למה? זו שאלה יפה מאוד, yes.
It's a good proof.
זו ראיה יפה מאוד.
It's good.
So he says this is the proof that this halacha applies בקורבנות.
Only.
It doesn't apply. If you go with the Akedah that said before, that by korbanot Moshe Rabbeinu is teaching. Where is Moshe Rabbeinu teaching the concept? The Torah is writing it by korban, yes. This is why, okay, for the sake of argument, the Chafetz Chaim wrote it in his book. But for the sake of argument, others are saying, each one of us makes mistakes. So you have to learn, you have to be a korban. He says, Peyah, I'm not obligated to be in Israel to have Peyah. If I have it, it's a fair mode. You hear this? For the same reason I have to know Nezikin, Hashim, Moed, I have to know Kodashim, simply because we do make mistakes, but it's an interesting
How
issue.
about all week it's been bothering me a little about the small mem. Can you explain this? What it is?
Okay,
I know. But I want to get the rabbi.
I didn't say anything. If you want, I'll say something. I'm sure this will actually shoot tomorrow with the rabbi that speaks and talk about it. No, I'm not laughing. I mean, this is the type people specialize in this type of.
About Prague?
באמת, you want really to hold the pshat? The Gemara says that there are 3 on the Mizbeach, there were 3 bonfires every day. One very big for the regular korbanot, The second one is only for the Ketoret. And the third one is just to fulfill the mitzvah. Look at the
What
beginning.
mitzvah?
Yaakov and Amish. It's like that. Esh tamid tukad ala mizbeach.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the pasuk a second. Look at the pasuk.
Which pasuk? Esh tamid is ner tamid, same thing.
הנה, תסתכל, פרשת, והאש על, you see פסוק ה', והאש על המזבח תוקד בו, לא תכבה. This is a מצוות עשה ולא תעשה. You have to have fire on the mizbech 24/7. So this was the small fire. So the Kohanim used to bring every morning 2 logs of wood, even though fire came from the Shammai. Then you have a special bonfire for the Ketoret, which means every day when the Kohen offered the Ketoret, the fire for the Ketoret has to go for the second. And the third one was the big one, yes? Was the big one for all the Korbanot are being offered. Yeah. So this is the small is a hint, yeah?
The Ketorah one? The
Yeah,
smallest
what?
one?
Not Ketoret.
No,
No, not the Ketoret.
Yeah, the fires, but
Oh.
they didn't mention about the small man.
No, the description of the
Esh
fire,
tamid.
the description of the fire is taken to the
So the little
Rambam.
man is
The
the Esh
Rambam.
tamid?
יש תמיד, אוקיי, יכול להיות, Another interesting halacha that we touched once is really fascinating in this week's parasha. Look a second at 570.
Rabbi Prague,
Yes.
didn't we learn when there's a lashon of, it says Zo Torah Ta'ala, and then later on in Vayikra 8 that you gave us, it said Zeh Hadavar, and it's sort of like Herahulo something ba'etzba. Is it?
Good question, yes. So זה הדבר is written 3 times. One is במחצית השקל, זה הדבר אשר יקרו. Then you have by קידוש החודש, ויאמר השם ובשם, זה,
Oh, and then we have Zed Devar Hashmita.
Basically they say every time זה Hashem has to point to something specific. Otherwise,
We do that in the Seder too, right? The Hera, right? The same concept.
He's saying by the Seder,
Matzazu, Marazu.
Asha Hashem li, והגדת על בנך ביום ההוא לאמור בעבור זה, you point out.
Matzu Mara Munachim Lefanecha. Interesting.
Look a second on page 570, Pesukim Yudbet. זה קורבן, listen carefully, זה קורבן אהרון ובניו אשר יקריבו להשם ביום ימשך אותו. Here it is. Every Kohen, male, you and your children, honey, you and your kids, the first time you and your kids came to Beit HaMikdash, that day, first time, you have to bring a korban, it's called Milchat Chavitim. You see, עשירית העפה הסולת,
It's only brought by
a
Kohen.
regular, only once in his life, the day becomes a Kohen.
Each Kohen. once
Kohen
in a while.
Gadol has to do it every day.
Oh.
Fascinating.
Huh.
All the commentators say, we are human beings, everything you do the first time, we do it excited.
Special, yeah,
So show it with the Korban. The Kohen Gadol is expected
every day.
to have the excitement every day. שמע דבר פלא. ישר יורד האסס, brings the תוספתא, and the Kohanim used to say שהחיינו. When the Kohen,
First time.
so when the Admor Migud, the Imrei Emet, came to Israel the first time in the 20s, and they gave him Peirot and Yerakot to take Trumot to Maasrot, he was asking Rav Kook, should I say Shechianu or not? But what do you see from this Tosefta? Every time you do mitzvah for the first time, imagine if a woman lights candles for the first time. Some people tell her to wear a new garment, to say Shechianu and have it in mind. Tefillin for the first time, which from Zaman Auerbach told his kids all the time, the day you put tefillin, wear a new shirt, say Shechianu for both. Why? Because only the Rambam brings this halacha. I mean, imagine if you really do it. ככה שאל האדמו"ר אמרי אמת,
We don't say Shulchan
No, we-
by
we-
itself.
by itself,
I
this is why
I understand shirt, but a different lady.
the answer is Bayas Shechiyanu is the same on pizza and watermelon and the mitzvah. But the idea is, this is why the Imre Emet said, I mean, he was a rabbi of 150,000 people. For the first time in his life, he's always making the mitzvah after Umat Tudim. It meant, look, before the Megillah, it's the Rabbanan, he said Shechiyanu. Me and you, I never said Shechiyanu in any new item I bought except my car.
The car you did?
The car I did.
So let me ask you, on the second night of Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi
So my old car,
Rabbi Prague, when
I'm saying, well, what?
when the Rebbitzin lights candles on the second night of Rosh Hashanah, does she wear a new? She's very makpid. I'm sure that she wears a new dress on the second night of Rosh Hashanah.
No, but this is the problem.
Because they had two suits,
You're right.
maybe.
Listen, the reason I'm telling you is the point. We had a rabbi in Baltimore, his name was Tulia Goldstein. About 30 years, he lived in the Lower East Side. One floor, Rabbi Feinstein. The wife of Rabbi Feinstein and his wife went to buy a new coffee table. Well, Rabbi Feinstein's house was a regular house in the Lower East Side. They couldn't take it in.
On the FDR.
So they called the carpenter so Rav Goldstein said in my shul, I asked Rav Feinstein, no, did you take it in? He says, yeah, we took it in, we assembled, and I said, Shechianu, do you feel happy when you get a new chair in the house? For me, it's the same as a new plastic cup. For my wife, it's important, yes? For us, it's
So
a
she'll say
suit.
it. She'll say it.
No, I'm saying this, a suit for us. Unfortunately, in the Gemara, a new shirt, it says Shechianu. The answer is we never ever, the only time I really felt it, I felt jealous is you went to Russia. So each one of us carried something special for a person. I was told that there is a doctor that needs Sfat American Beshas, 3 volumes. So I carried and I came into the house. Told him, Dr. Dashevsky, I'm happy to present you this size, exactly this size. I'll never forget it. He takes it to Shomer. Hashem, thank you very much. I felt jealous. I had thousands of books. And he said, I have the Sfat Emet al Chumash all my life, but I really wanted it. God has gone away.
That's why it says, "Kachet bincha tinchidcha shera hafta."
Exactly is. I mean, whatever is important to you. I remember going to a Brit Milah. I remember Rabbi Levi, our English principal, he named his first grandson after his father. He was crying at the radio. What are you crying? It's a Brit Milah. He lost his father when he was young. First baby. It was named after him. To him, it's his father.
Brought him back.
His father. No, but this is the point. This concept is a concept. Whatever is important to you. By the wedding of the daughter, when did you have tears? Did you have tears by the first wedding of your grandson? Everyone, whenever you cry, this is the moment that you connected, yes? Everyone has this moment that you have
When
tears.
my daughter got married, it was just she and I left at the end of Iowa. My wife finally walked out with her alone. So I was shaking, I started to cry. Daughter tells you, Dad, get hold of yourself.
No, but this is exactly the point. The point is tears is the language of the heart.
But a new suit, Rabbi, I try to wear my new suit on Shabbat. I wear it on Shabbat the first time, and then I feel like it's a
No,
little
but
special that way.
You're consecrating it.
Yeah, so and I say Shechianu then.
אנחנו לא אומרים, אבל
Yeah,
עכשיו דמן אמר בדברים של מצוות שבאמת לא באים, תלבש משהו חדש, הוא כאילו אמר the Rambam says so, we cannot dismiss the
So
Rambam.
when I made the mitzvah of Kisui Adam with our father, first time.
They told you to say Shechianu.
they told me to say
Why? Because the Shach, so look in Siman.